Oh, hey class, I'm going to use the flashcards as a means of going through the study guide. So they're going to be in a different order. Maybe they'll be close to the original order, but remember, I made the test, so I know exactly what you need to know. I want you to do well, so make sure if I'm emphasizing something or if I'm placing an importance on something, you are making note of it, you're writing it down so that you get your full credit on the test and you're preparing the right way. All right, so first we have the division of Indian society into groups based on rank, wealth, or occupation. This is the caste system, right? That's the first term of the study guide, which you found in the glossary. Remember with these videos, you can stop whenever you need to, right, to write something down. So that's a nice feature here. Going without food for a period of time. This is fasting, right, which people will do for spiritual purposes to enhance, their experience. The Buddha fasted, so yeah. The number system we use today. It was created by Indian scholars during the Gupta dynasty. These are Hindu Arabic numerals. Injecting a person with a small dose of a virus to help him or her build up defense to a disease. This is called inoculation, and ancient Indians used it. Inoculation today would be like a flu shot, and there's other sorts of vaccinations that would be similar. In Buddhism and Hinduism, the effects that good or bad actions have on a person's soul. This is called karma. Deep, continued thought that focuses the mind on spiritual ideas. This is meditation. So this can be connected to fasting, which we talked about a moment ago, but definitely connected to spiritual ideas. Seasonal wind patterns that cause wet and dry seasons. These are monsoons. And remember that the wet season is in the summer and the dry season is in the winter in India. In Buddhism, a state of perfect peace. This is called Nirvana. And that is what the Buddha reached for enlightenment, and then he became the Buddha and began to teach his beliefs and what he found out. A Hindu and Buddhist belief that souls are born and reborn many times, each time into a new body. We talked about this. It's reincarnation. And lastly, the most important language of ancient India. It was brought by the Aryans to India, and this is Sanskrit. So remember, that's the most important language of ancient India is Sanskrit. All right, so now we're on to the questions. Where did the first Harappan civilizations emerge? Well, this is the Indus River Valley. Right, so it's in a valley, it's connected to a river, right, both sides of the river, where there would be fertile soil to plant crops. Name 3 things that Harappan cities featured, or 3 advances found in Harappan cities is the question on number 2. Indoor plumbing, pottery, and the first known writing system. I just picked 3, there were more I could have used. I'm going to emphasize here, and I talked about the importance of this.
Indoor plumbing, pottery, first known Indian writing system.
Indoor plumbing is something I want you to remember, but the first known Indian writing system also significant as well. What geographical feature separates India from the rest of Asia? This is mountains, the Himalayas, the largest mountains in the world. Hinduism says that people are expected to accept their place in the world without complaint. This is called what? This is called dharma, accepting their place without complaint. And this would probably be a factor in maintaining the caste system. People who broke the caste rules could be banned from their homes and their castes. What were these people called? Well, we watched that video on the group called the Dalits, and we saw all the ways they were mistreated. They're often referred to as untouchables. Hinduism developed from which early Aryan religion? this would be Brahmanism. And then you'll see that term Brahmin in Brahmanism, that's the term for priest in the Hindu religion. Name the 4 principles of Jainism. 1. Injure no life. 2. Tell the truth. 3. Do not steal. 4. Own no property. All right, so remember these 4. Own no property seems kind of weird, so maybe these other 3 are probably more straightforward. Own no property. Keep your mind on that. Own no property. All right. They don't want you to, be dominant over anything or mistreat anything. That's why they would say own no property. What are the 4 noble truths? There's a lot of information here, so I'm going to read through it, and then I'll emphasize a couple of points that I want you to remember. Suffering and happiness are a part of human life. Suffering comes from our desires for pleasure and material goods. All right, I'm going to place an emphasis on this third one. People can overcome desire and ignorance and reach Nirvana. All right, that's what they reach. They reach Nirvana, that state of perfect peace. Okay. 4. People can overcome desire and ignorance by following an 8-fold path. All right, so you want to try to the best of your ability to remember all of these because this is a really important concept within Buddhism, perhaps the most important concept. But I'm placing a particular emphasis on this third one. People can overcome desire and ignorance and reach Nirvana. How did Buddhism's opposition to the caste system win him support from Vaisyas and Sudras? Remember, these are 2 of the lower castes. Vaisyas would be more in the middle. Sudras near the bottom, right, with the Untouchables. So why would Buddhism be appealing to them? Why would they like the idea of Buddhism and its opposition to the caste system? Well, it made them feel that they had the power to change their lives. In the previous system, when they were at the bottom and they were mistreated and they were told that's just where you are and you're going to have to live with it, well, Buddhism didn't agree with that. It said that you could, even if you're at the lowest of the low, you can change your life by, following the 8-fold path and understanding the 4 noble truths, and you can move up and move forward towards enlightenment. What does the Buddha mean? Well, I just said a word there. The enlightened one is what it translates to. Which Varna did the Buddha grow up in before searching for life's meaning? We know he was wealthy. He was, he lived a lavish lifestyle. Specifically, he was in the Kshatriya elite warrior class, the ruling class. So remember that, the Kshatriya class. What are Buddhist temples with domed roofs that were built to hold items from the life of the Buddha? These are called stupas, right? They're called stupas. And I believe they mentioned this in the video that you watched for the Ahsoka document activity, stations activity. All right, which element did Indian metalworkers make their strongest products from? Iron, right? And this is, if you've studied science, maybe you've seen elements such as hydrogen, oxygen, carbon. Iron is just another element, and it was the element that Indian metalworkers made their strongest products from. All right, list all of the procedures that ancient surgeons could perform based on what's in the textbook. So there's a lot here, and I'm going to emphasize. I'll read through all of them, but I'm going to emphasize one particular point. Okay, they could repair broken bones. They could treat wounds. They could remove infected tonsils, reconstruct broken noses. All right, so we've seen repair broken bones. That could just be setting them, right? If they broke, putting them in the right place, right? Same thing with reconstructing broken noses. That would probably just be snapping it into place. They could, if you were cut or wounded, they could treat them. They could remove stuff, all right? This last one's what I want you to remember, okay? They could reattach earlobes, all right? So that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it's a pretty complicated thing to do surgically, to reattach something as opposed to remove something or just set something, or cover something up with, medicinal herbs, that sort of thing. Reattaching something is more complicated. So they could reattach earlobes. I'm going to tell you they couldn't reattach like a hand or a finger. That would be too complicated. But they could just reattach an earlobe onto the ear if it was cut off. That was within their ability. Last question. What was the highest ranking Varna that performed rituals for the gods? This would be the Brahmins. They were the priests, and they were very important in Hindu society, and they still are often to this day. All right. So if you need to go back and look at any specific questions or terms, you can do that. But thanks, and continue prepping for the test.